I look at this. It was progress made today. Yeah, I guess you could make that case. If the clubhouse is going to be, or there's an openness to a more unified clubhouse, will the players be activated? Will they play better? I guess I'm not going to really know that until next year. Is this a precursor to other things? Okay, sure, I'll buy into all of that. But I view today much less about Gabe Kapler did something wrong as a manager and much more about the whole organization has lost its way. They're in the middle of a PR disaster, and this is how you start when you have a PR disaster.
Sure, and I don't know if the hiring of a new manager fixes the PR disaster, because I think
very unlikely.
The PR disaster goes far beyond Gabe Kapler. This came to me from a good friend of mine, actually a close friend.
What's that person's nickname?
They've got a nickname. I'm going to leave this person's nickname out of it.
Bobby Two Chains?
Pending approval.
Who is it?
Pending approval. The nickname.
Sammy Boombats? Who is it? Who do you got?
This person.
Marin Catholic,
This person may have been referred to as the Fulfill at one point. So if you know,
right.
you know. Now the head of the snake has to go. While Gabe was semi-incompetent with stupid managerial ideas, he only had what Farhan gave him to work with, which for 4 years was less than adequate. Now who wants to come here with nothing to work with for the future? Anyway, thoughts for the day.
Anyway, have you texted him back yet?
Yes.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
I said, great point. Many fans are expressing the same thing. Firing Gabe does not fix the inherent problems with the roster. Farhan is more likely to get an extension now. And there's more. Gabe had stupid managerial ideas, which got him fired twice. But he was Farhan's guy. Who wants to now be a manager for a lame duck GM with a woeful roster with no help on the horizon?
I'd like to help.
Wait, I know another Farhan hand-picked clone just like the last one. The head of the snake has to go.
That was uncomfortable what
that
you did.
That was a little Hannibal Lecter.
For those of us in the room, tough visual, too.
Sorry.
But anyway.
The YouTube audience. Anyway, the head of the snake notion.
Hold on. Respond, if I may.
Here, do you want to do talk to text?
Who wants to be the manager of the Giants? A lot of people.
You're just a middle manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on, let me turn the microphone.
Who wants to join the Giants on with a lame duck? A lot of people. Okay? How many managerial jobs are there out there? Okay? And if you're going to handpick an organization in baseball, this ain't the Dodgers or the Yankees. It ain't the Pirates or the Marlins either.
You're closer to the Pirates and Marlins than you are.
Stop. No, you're not. That's absurd. That's absurd.
You dream about being the Marlins.
No, you don't. From a payroll perspective, as a manager, that's what you want. You want someone who's in the top half of the league in payroll, and it is not going to be called a small market team. That's this.
Yeah.
This.
You want to be around an organization that shovels money at DeSclafani, Conforto, and Haniger.
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
actually, no. See, that's again.
It's mean-spirited.
It is
and contextual. I admit it,
and fair in the moment. But that's what I spend a day like today pulling that apart. Are you coming from our current anger with your opinion, which is totally fair, or are you coming from somewhere else where you want to still look at the big picture and allow optimism to be a part of your body for 2 seconds? And that's fine too. Wherever you want to go, that's totally fine. But the whole who would ever want to be here thing, it's like, come on, stop. This is not, we're not in Siberia.
Yes.
This is San Francisco, California. It's the freaking Giants. It's the top half of the league payroll. They've won World Series in recent times.
Sure.
I know it feels like a dumpster fire in the moment, but in the future, somebody who's looking at this as a situation to come in and help, this is not like a bad job. That's not what this is.
Right. The job is the job. And unfortunately, the guy you're working for, Farhan Zaidi, does not have a track record of stockpiling a lot of offensive talent. And where he has been in his tenure here, there have been a lot of short deals with players who have either worked out or not worked out. And the ones who he's brought in, some of them have worked out and gone elsewhere and been great. And some have gone elsewhere and gotten hurt and not been great. It's been a big-time churn over 5 years
Absolutely.
of personnel.
And it's got to stop.
Right.
It's got to stop.
So if you're a prospective manager and you look at this team, I'd have a lot of questions about roster stability and, how are we going to get this team from being mediocre for the last 2 years to being an actual threat to do some big things.
I'd say perfect time to come in. If you're telling me top half of the league in payroll and you're telling me that I can come in after back-to-back 500 seasons and that's the act I'm following, that's exactly where I want to be. And oh, by the way, you're going to be forced as a general manager to swing big right when I get there? Woo!
Well, he swung big before, but he swung and missed.
Right.
So that's where my hesitation would come from.
My point is I think what you're going to see this offseason is them finally make trades. So you can't swing and miss.
When you acquire,
the player does not have the option to be like, I'm not coming.
Sure.
The player will be here.
If you can get Juan Soto and Pete Alonso and you're shoveling prospects to get them, no fan's going to care.
Exactly. Opening statement from Farhan in a second. You want to laugh for a second first, though?
Sure.
Say hi to Daniel Brown from The Athletic. You know Daniel.
Yeah, he's the best.
Absolutely. He says the Giants will replace Gabe Kapler with a managerial platoon. They will have both a steady hand and a fiery type and use one or the other based on the matchup.
It's perfect. That's actually what they need, If things are
two managers.
Well, over the past
fire and ice.
Over the past month, fire would have been definitely in the lineup a lot more than ice.
More.
You'd go to the fiery manager.
If you're a Giants fan, how did you feel today when you got the news that Gabe Kapler has been let go? We'll take your calls. 888-957-9570. Here's Farhan Zaidi's opening statement after the dismissal.
I don't have one negative thing to say about Gabe Kapler, not just as a person, but from a professional standpoint. During his time with us, for me, he's one of the, I find he's thoughtful, he's creative, he's incredibly hardworking, he's loyal, he's diligent. He's really passionate about this game. He was passionate about the job that he had and did, and we obviously reached some really high highs during his tenure here. And that's, I think, in a way what makes it so difficult for us to be here and have to turn the page on his tenure. And I've said this a couple times publicly, and to reiterate it, the thing that has been on my mind and on the mind of other people in this organization is, as a group, as a team, we played our worst baseball when it mattered the most. I know you guys have been working on figuring out why that happened, and there's a lot of questions for fans on why that happened. We have a lot of work to figure out why that happened.
All right, so there's the opening statement. More to come as the show continues with the comments from Farhan Zaidi with regard to this. But, when I hear that, it confirms something that I already thought. Like, Farhan had two choices here. You can both go, or you can put something in front of us that makes us smile and he can go. Farhan, he didn't even say anything in there about Gabe didn't do XYZ. All he did was Gabe's amazing. Gabe's effort,
right,
perfect. Gabe's approach, perfect. Took us to some really big highs. I have nothing bad to say about Gabe Kapler. We as an organization need to review everything that we're doing to figure out why we stunk. So that tells you that's why today is not a party for me, because this is just one person, part of a huge picture that didn't work, and someone had to be gone. And so it's him.
Yeah, I don't think it's a party either, and I think it's a half measure is what it is, because you ultimately didn't solve the root problem, and I don't know if Farhan Zaidi can solve the root problem, but he's going to be given a chance to do that. Your biggest problem is not a manager who lost the clubhouse. Your biggest problem is your team's not very good. The players that you have in giant uniforms aren't as good as the players on other teams more often than not, and that's a problem. And in baseball, it's really, really hard to outpace your baseball card. And if you look at this team, Joe Shasky live from Tahoe made great points, and you've said it over and over. Wilmer Flores cannot be your number 3 hitter. He can't be your best hitter. Mike Yastrzemski's a 4th outfielder, and you go all the way around your starting 9, and you're just not good enough. So you fire Gabe Kapler. Okay, he might have been part of the problem, but the real big problem, the rat on the table, brought to you by Atco Pest Control, is that your roster's not good enough. So Farhan apparently was able to convince the Johnsons that he has a plan, and they believed that he can fix what ails them, because what ails them is more the players on the field than it is the guy who's picking the players on the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not trying to come across as somebody who's partying.
No,
and I know
not,
some fans are like,
I'm not saying it to you. I'm saying it to Twitter.
No, some people,
and YouTube. There's a lot of all caps, woohoo, and exclamation points.
Yeah,
and that's fine. Like if Gabe rubbed you the wrong way, Gabe rubbed you the wrong way.
Right.
You got a lot of company at that party. I get it, but damn it, I want to see somebody who can hit.
That's it.
And this didn't do that today. So if that means, if you translate that as Farhan should be fired, fine. You're welcome to that opinion. I don't even really care necessarily who's in that position. Just get some people who can hit.
Sure.
One thing Farhan said today, and this is important, he did not phrase this. In the past, when the Giants have been accused of being boring, Farhan's response is, we believe that winning is exciting. So, in other words, we're going to go with our process.
Right.
Because we think it wins. And when we win, you won't be bored. And in theory, the one time that happened, he was right. We were not bored in 2021. Now, today, he did not say, we think that winning is what will cure the boredom. What he said today was, we are fully dedicated to putting a great product on the field. Sounds like a subtle difference.
Yes.
But I don't find it to be a subtle difference at all. What they damn well know is that their process did not work, and they are going to have more pizzazz, more pop, more intrigue, more stories.
Sizzle, yeah.
More all of that has got to be on the field next year. It puts them in a position where they absolutely could make some massive mistakes, but they also have no choice but to go make them. You know what I mean? Like it's not time for smart purchases. It's time for crazy purchases.
Exactly. And I think about if they would have gotten Judge and Correa this last offseason. And we know what we know about Judge. He played about half the year due to injury, and he had more of a down year. Carlos Correa was better in the second half, but he didn't live up to his own billing. The Giants might have won based on the war of those players versus who they would have replaced. You might have won 3 or 4 more games. So you might be in that last wild card spot, but you would have been inordinately more exciting. And I would argue that your attendance, which fell at this point by 81 fans a game, your attendance would have gone up. And the thing you said about 2021, we'll never know in a non-pandemic year what the attendance would have been. The attendance numbers show that they were low, but I went to a couple of games with Supper that year, and it was mandatory spacing. You could not. Thank you. I was there for the Yastrzemski big home run comeback. It was a great night, but we never will know what that attendance would have looked like.
Totally.
It probably would have been better than 30,000, which is what they've drawn in back-to-back years.
Yeah, when you got to the Dodgers series, it was
towards
packed house.
It's
packed house. So I think Butch walked down Barcadero with a damn flag. Like there was plenty of excitement.
Good point.
There was plenty of excitement in 2021 because they were winning. So he's not wrong, but the problem is you can't just snap your fingers and do that. Obviously, you can't go win 107 games just because you want to. You've got to be concerned with your product.